is an online marketing specialist, great techie guy, IIT graduate. It's very difficult to sum up his crude profile and achievements in such a short span of time today. But we'll start with Alok, request him to tell his story, how he made it to where he is today, right? And what does it take to be a CEO of a company? And later on we can open the floor for, question and answers. It's a very cozy session right now. I mean, very small group of people, but I believe we'll still have takeaways. So over to you.
Okay. Good that you're a small group, so I can be completely informed. I'm pretty much a Chandigarh guy. I was sort of, born right across the street in General Hospital, Sector 16. I grew up here, except for the accidents of college and graduate studies in the US. I think I worked in Delhi for a couple of years after I came back from the US. I've pretty much been here. So Chandigarh has been a constant in my life, I would say, by choice. So when I was working in Noida in 91, 92, right, we would worry why the hell am I living in this kind of a... It was pretty tough because you would have to work in Noida Export Crossing Zone and you would have to catch a bus at 6:30 in the morning. If you missed the bus, then you had to take the local bus. And the local bus was, you not really, it used to be, a ratchet trap. But we were in the export process zone, and the interesting thing was that we were doing very high-tech work in electronic design automation for US clients in the middle of nowhere. But after a year of that, I sort of figured that there are better ways to live my life. I was almost ready to give up on India and go back to the US, and then I started, I met this friend of a friend in Chandigarh. This gentleman was an architect, and he had in the US started developing a product for the furniture industry in the US. So why don't we start working together and do something in Chandigarh? This is exactly the kind of opportunity I was looking for. Because one of the main reasons why I moved back from the US was that I wanted to work in products. I didn't want to do services. And here was somebody in Chandigarh who was already developing a product. So for about 7-8 years we worked together. We built a product company which was at the peak of our the company's existence. We had about 3,000 people renewing every year for our product. It would go out in a shrink wrap box like the regular software. The only catch was that we were doing outsourced product development. We didn't own the rights to that software. The rights were with the Boston company. And since we were in Chandigarh, which means that we were not in the mainstream IT industry, we had to solve lots of problems. Right? For example, we didn't have any internet. So we didn't have any internet. So we would dial up at, I think it was 150 rupees a minute at one point in time. International कॉल करते थे कंप्यूटर और अपना ईमेल डाउनलोड करते थे फटाफट 10 मिनट के अंदर डाउनलोड हो गया उसका जवाब लिखा फिर वापस इंटरनेशनल कॉल करते एंड वी वुड शिप आवर सॉफ्टवेयर इन 2 sets. यदि एक सेट खराब हो गया तो फिर the cycle time for getting another set of copies to the partner would be about 15 days because he would find out, he would receive it in 1 week, let us know if there was a problem, we'd have to repackage, retest and send it back. The flip side or the good side of that was that we became very diligent in practices. For a company which was about 10 people, we had a software product company which was, I would say, we had one QA person for every developer, and we had a documentation department. So for, I don't know, how many of you are familiar with software development, Microsoft, right? Software product development also. Right. So in 95, I had a 10% team, which I had 2 people doing documentation, 2 people doing QA, and 6 developers. So we were way ahead of our time in terms of what we were doing, and the good and the flip side was that we had to look for talent. So we made it a policy that talent we would acquire basis passion. So my first employee was a diploma holder. Okay, he had an NIT diploma. But when he came to us, he worked in a company which he had worked in C, in point of sale system. So say, the key thing that came out in his, in our discussion was his passion for programming. He couldn't speak English very well. He was a regular grad, just with an IIT diploma. And he turned out to be our best programmer. My next hire was a PhD in nuclear physics from Punjab University. So this gentleman had done some coding in his thesis work for his PhD, and I knew some people in the physics department. In fact, one of the benefits of being from Chandigarh is that you know mostly who's around. And he came with very strong recommendations. And he turned out to be also a great programmer for us because, again, he came with passion. Similarly, when we first decided to hire documentation people, we looked around for, we called up, Aggie called up the GCG head of department of English to see if she had any people. And she referred somebody who was a smart kid with a diploma, but no background, and an English major. So we trained her, and again, what really, I would say, helped us was that the person's own passion for, not only was she able to handle all our user documentation, in fact our user guide was so good that the client just took what we sent, printed it and distributed copies. And you would think that here is a BA from Government College of Girls who has a small diploma under a direct writing for US artists. But the clear advantage that this person had over anybody who was more qualified was the passion. And as we went along, we grew out of our, we were working out of our partner's home for about 3-4 years. Then when we were ready, we sort of moved into a commercial location. And we also, at that time, decided to do our own product. We knew enough about the industry, so we came with a product of our own. This product was fairly successful in the sense that we were competing against products being built by very large companies in that same space. This was a furniture catalog manager, right? But we sold out 6 copies of that. The challenge was that by that time we were all bitten by the .com bug. It was 99, 98, everybody was making money. So we started a site called Dark India, which was a free email to print for overseas Indians, just to understand what the web is all about. And then we started actually another company, the same set of people, to build configurators. So while we were doing our furniture work, we also used to work in CAD. So we came across some technology which was really good at doing 3D animations on the web. Talking about circa 2000, right? In 2000, we built technology for doing 3D configuration. So our demo software was that we got a model of a car. It actually was a Subaru, and you could change the colors, and you could change the muffler, and it would change the sound, and you could change the spoiler. You could put in a spoiler. You could change the interior colors, and you could do this all through the software, which means that it was a catalog, like an Excel kind of interface. Where you say, okay, here are the 10 color options, here is the image representing the color. You could go in and in your catalog, which was online, change the options as well. Put in a pricing, generate a bill of materials, and actually generate a custom catalog in Word. We were way ahead of our times in terms of the technology and the product, but we were way behind when it came to actually selling it. So, great technology, but we struggled to find a market. And right in 2000, when the 2001, 2002, when the crash happened, we were ready to run out of money. So the services, the outsourced product business that we built up, could not really sustain our new venture, and we kindly had to shut it down, part ways. So I was at a loose end. It is our product here. अब services में उसमें हम बनेंगे. So what can we do? So the interesting insight was that hey, everybody in India has now started talking about products. When we were first doing products, there was no everybody wanted to do services. Right? So people had started at that time in 2003 to start talking about products. Why don't we tell people how to do products? So I started, talking to people, and even went to the US for a few months with a company where they wanted me to help build their product. So after that, I started consulting with companies. Most famously, I consulted with Naukri. Naukri at that time was looking for somebody to help them build their technology. Naukri, I don't know if you guys realize, but it's a pure sales-driven company. It is not technology, but it was not technology. On the other hand, if you look at something like a Make My Trip was much more strongly technology-driven than Naukri ever was. So, in fact, I met Sanjeev Chandani at a Thai function. He came down to Chandigarh. We got talking, and I said, "This is what I do. This is what I'm planning to do." Just say, we need exactly the kind of person, the kind of services you're offering. So my role was essentially to help mentor their tech team to improve their product. And since they found value in it, I said, "Okay, let's talk to other people." And within about 3 months, I was flying around. 1 week Bombay, 1 week Bangalore, 1 week Delhi. Within 6 months, 1 year, मैं थक गया. Think about it, 9 years, 10 years, I've sat in a cubbyhole of my own, writing out products which people in the US like. And suddenly I'm, flying. So it was a very big switch for me. Which I figured that if I have to do consulting, then I kind of need to either shift base from Chandigarh, or I need to, figure out a way how to sort of multiply my time. Both of things were kind of not acceptable, possible for me. So that time we started looking at, okay, what else can you do with technology? The challenge there at that point was that, I was also kind of getting a little bit tired of doing technology again. I said, I've done technology, I've done consulting, what else can we do? So we started looking at, we started speaking to a UK based member of the family. He says, why don't we start doing something? And we actually tied up with a FTSE 100 company. This company was interesting that they had a lot of paper documents, track record of their transactions. You'll be surprised what this company did. This company is in the business of clothing rental. And it's in the FTSE 100. Okay. Tells you how big a business is clothing rental is. They had records for about 10 years in paper, which they wanted us to do. We just said, hey, can you extract some business intelligence out of this? Hey, we can do it. So we actually set up a BPO which would take the paper documentation. Our partner, they scan all the paperwork, would ship it on a CD to us or a DVD to us. I set up a team of over 20 people there, transcribe and start generate data and analytics on top of that data. The challenge which I found with service industry is smaller, and this is, the reason I'm bringing this particular example up. Very soon, this partner was not technical. He came from the business side. He figured that, hey, why do I need to have a partner? Right? I'm providing all the business. So the value which was on the technical side of things very soon migrated to the business side of things. Okay. In which case, in his mind, right, my role became very relevant. And the opportunity was very huge. I mean, think about it. There's a FTSE 100 company, we've gotten the prototype done, we're generating actually analytics and intelligence, and we figured out, I need to take control of this. Unluckily, I was not very strong on contracts. So since this person had come from a very strong reference, I did not negotiate and create a very strong contract where I could put in a contract. And so he walked out with the entire business. So that was a little bit of a setback. He said, okay, what next? And again the thought came that you kind of need to leave Chandigarh and figure out what to do outside Chandigarh. The pull was so strong, we said, okay, no, let's create our own roads here. Luckily, one of the things that happened was that there was another in my contact circle, somebody who said, hey, we want these collateral developed, white people written for a technology client in the US. It's a nice challenge, let's see what we can do. So I started a small group which was writing business collateral for, I would say, technical collateral for their clients in the US. The first challenge was, okay, you've never written collateral before. Right? So what is your USP? We spent a lot of time studying. And I had a couple of interns. I said, okay, why don't you research and give me key points and let's look at what the market is like. It's kind of funny, when you, I don't know if, how many of you have gone to English medium schools? Right. How many of you have good English teachers? You will always thank them in your life. So, when I was in school, so सबसे ज़्यादा जोर होता था कि English सीख लो, maths आनी चाहिए. So you need to have verbal, quantitative skills, and you're set for life. And those came in very handy when we started writing collateral. Obviously, there were some embellishments. When I had gone to grad school in the US, we had a good course on how to write technical literature, which came in very handy, and my experience with the product documentation we created. But the fun thing that happened was when this client published their white paper, the channel on which they published it says you have displaced 98% readership from white papers of HP, EMC, NetApp. So if there's something which is probably what we're doing is right. So this company, which was a client of mine, as a contractor, says, maybe you have something great going. Why don't you join us to open our center in Chandigarh? So okay, I was looking for an opportunity. This might be. So we started. I started this center actually out of my home. There's 2 rooms in my house, and again, since we had a challenge in getting talent, so I would fly down consultants from Bangalore, Delhi, who work here on projects, while we trained our local team to get up to speed with different skills. And over a period of time, this particular organization grew to be about 40 to 50 people. And again, what we, I would say, ended up creating was a delivery center for really specialized marketing services. So we were writing, if you go to the NetApp site, how many of you are familiar with NetApp? NetApp, not many. So in the storage world, there are a few large companies. The largest one is a company called EMC. Yeah. And the second one is a company called NetApp. Then there's another company called Hitachi that you might have heard, Hitachi Systems. And then there's IBM, and then there's a bunch of other smaller players. But primarily it's a duopoly between EMC, NetApp, and Hitachi is a distant third. HP comes in, but HP is almost a captive center in selling storage. Dell is now getting into that space. The storage is the one area which is still growing 50% year on year. कुछ भी हो जाए डेटा को ज़्यादा जनरेट करेंगे. So because we gotten our earlier successes in content with the storage domain, we ended up creating almost all the rich media collateral that you see on the site here from Chandigarh. Again, we had a challenge of how do you find talent which can write for a US audience. And if you go back to 90s when we were looking at programming talent who could develop products, it was the similar scale of challenge. How do you get people who can write technical which would appeal to a US audience? And the fun part is that we were actually able to train people to do that kind of high-end work very successfully. So there's a team which churns them out regularly. It's probably one of the most profitable parts of that business. Similarly, when the social media revolution came about, then what can we do on social media? So I think one of the themes in social media that I found that transfer whatever we do is that whenever there is a new challenge, it's extremely exciting to solve it. Right? It means that when social media came about, we were almost the first guys to run